Listen up, get ready, I'm not gonna take no more. There's a revolution, a revelation going on in my soul. Buckle up, get ready, we're not gonna sit back. Welcome back to Live from the Heartland. I'm Michael James, and I'm going to bring on our first guest now, the one and only David Boykin. And I know David through his involvement in a series of jazz sets that the late William Perry put on at the No Exit Cafe back when the No Exit was part of the Heartland Cafe's little mini empire. And it was a wonderful Sunday afternoon event that had a lot of musicians. And one of them was David Boykin. And I'm just going to tell you a little bit about David. He's a pretty interesting and dynamic artist, a composer, a band leader. He's a multi-reed guy, tenor saxophone, soprano sax, etc. I don't know about Stritch and Manzella. He even does a little drumming, and he is the founder of Sonic Healing Ministries, and he is a pretty interesting guy. And like a lot of other musicians, he has a political side. And we remember here in Chicago, Jerry Butler, who got political and was in the Water Reclamation District. He was elected officer. And I'm calling to everyone's attention a recent article I saw about Nashville is in Tennessee, which is a really kind of right-wing red state these days. But there is a whole breed of young country singers who are challenging that. So we like the mixture of politics and music. We're going to start with David talking about some politics. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. It looks like you're in Havana, but I think you're in Grand Crossing. Good morning, David.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, I'm in Greater Grand Crossing. That's where I'm at.
And tell people who are watching or listening out of Chicago where that is at. Even Chicago people.
Yeah, Greater Grand Crossing on the south side of Chicago. I'm on 75th and near 75th and King Drive, south side. You may know Lim's Barbecue, or you may know Soul Vegetarian Restaurant, or you may know Brown Sugar Bakery, Yeah, that's where
Brown Sugar Bakery got a big play in that movie that I talked about at the outset of this show, Chicago Candy. It's a documentary about the rise and fall of the candy industry. And Brown Sugar was one of in the finale of all these new little shops that are cranking it out.
Yeah.
When I wrote to you and got a hold of you, I wanted to talk about music, get a little of your history, and I still want to do that. But what you wanted to talk about was the Community Commission of Police Accountability. And when I was looking over the material, I know about the district councils. Tell us about how they're related, the two of them.
Yeah, well, it's the Community Commission of Public Safety and Accountability. And it's like a 7-member body. And the initial body was appointed by the mayor. Going forward, though, they'll be elected, and they are a new civic body to oversee police policy and procedure and other things related to public safety. And the sort of eyes and ears of the commission in the police districts is the district councils. Now, these are 22 smaller bodies of just 3 people in each police district that are elected. Now, these people are elected by the residents in the police district. And there's 3 in each, making a total of 66. And I ran for one of those positions and was elected to be a representative in my district, in the 6th district.
Oh, so you are a member of the district council for the 6th district.
Right.
And you are running for re-election.
I just it's brand new. We just were elected last year. During the last election, that's when we were elected. When Brandon Johnson came in, on that same election, that's when we were elected. We were inaugurated in May, so we're in our first year. And we're up for re-election every 4 years. Yeah.
Oh, so you're on for a while. That's good.
Yeah.
Oh, we had some people on the show up here in the 24th district, which would be Veronica Areola, who's the chair, and then Marilyn Pagan Banks.
and Ed Vet Jones, although I think he is not going to stay on. I'm not sure what the procedure is. Why don't you talk a little bit about the district councils and the Commission on Police Accountability? Tell us what you're observing, how you think it's going, and what the potential is.
Potential is great as many things. You know, the potential is far greater than how you may perceive things to be going practically on a day-to-day kind of basis. It was potential that brought me to this. As you said, you know, I'm a musician. I was playing music and teaching music, and then this kind of came across my radar. I don't know if I saw a Facebook post or some kind of social media post or something, because people, you know, fighting, you know, long and hard for this ordinance, the ECPS ordinance, empowering communities for public safety, that established it. And then they started organizing to have people to run for these positions, you know, that they had created. CARPA, the Chicago Alliance Against Racist and Political Repression, they were hosting a series of trainings and meetings about the district councils and about the commission. And I saw some advertisement for it, and I was like, oh, let me just see what that is. And I started attending these online Zoom meetings. And this is like, I think kind of like during the end of the pandemic, I'm doing these Zoom meetings. And they're talking about it, and I'm finding out more about it. And then they would do like a series of like 12 meetings. And then so towards the end, they started asking people, oh, okay, now who is it that would like to run for this? And somebody answered back, and they kind of echoed my sentiments. They were like, you know, this is great, but and I think this is really important, you know, work. But I'm not sure if I want to be sitting up in a room with the police, and I just don't want to be that close to the police like that. And I felt totally the same way. I didn't want to. I thought, you know, I support this work, but I'm not the one to do it. But then I came to find out that there was no one slated to run in my district. And so, yeah, I decided to go ahead and do it.
Yeah, and up here in the 24th, there was competition that were not as progressive as the people we elected.
Yeah.
That's good. So how many people are now on your council in the 6th district? Do you have 3 or just you?
We do have 3. We did manage to get 3. First, it was just 2. There was myself and Eric Russell. And then Aisha Humphreys joined as a write-in candidate. So we do have 3. However, as just announced yesterday, Eric Russell is resigning at the end of this year. So after May, he's going to be resigning, and we will be seeking someone to replace him in that role.
How will that be selected? Will there be an election or an appointment?
I have to get all the details about that. I've got a little bit of information about that. People will apply, and I think it'll be a selection. I think myself and the other district counselor, Aisha, I think we will recommend to the commission, and the commission will send them along to the mayor, maybe 2 or 3 people, and the mayor will approve or disapprove them, and, you know, send them back to us to find somebody else, or he'll approve them and they'll be appointed. I think that's how the process will go.
Well, we're going to have to do it up here. I should know too. We have the same with someone resigning. These councils, you know, it's been a long struggle for community control of police. You know, I remember back in my own experience in Jobs or Income Now, or Joint Community Union, as it came to be known, which was organizing in Uptown, mainly with Southern whites in the 60s, late 60s. We actually tried to do what the Panthers did and follow the police when they were arresting someone or hassling them or whatever. And it didn't go real well. Now, the Panthers did it out in Oakland. And I think throughout the country, people have been trying to figure out how there's more community say in the behavior of the police. But the district councils here aren't just advisory, right? Or just discussion. There's not a lot of power involved yet.
No, it's not. It's not a lot of power. The biggest power that the councils have is in nominating the commission. as I said, the original commission was appointed. Now those people, their terms are up, and there needs to be new commissioners. The new commissioners, where the new commissioners come from, are people that are nominated by the district councils. The application has been open, I think, for about a week or so. They just opened the application recently for people to apply to become commissioners. And once they apply, it's the district councils who will decide what applications that go forward and are sent to the mayor to be confirmed. And the power with the commission, the real power with the commission is that they do things like they appointed the superintendent. The superintendent Snelling, he had to come through the commission. The commission approved him. And they sent him and 3 other applicants to the mayor, and the mayor chose Snelling. So that's the biggest power that I see, like, in the councils, is that they select the commissioners.
Are you going to run? Are you one of the people going to run for the Community Commission of Police Accountability?
No, I'm not. You can't. Well, you can't.
If you're on a district council, you can't run for that leadership.
Right. You can't do that. Yeah. There's different qualifications. But I encourage people to apply, to look at that and to apply. And also there's 2 of the people on the commission have to be between the ages of 18 and 24. So young people especially, please, look into that and apply.
I don't have any kids that are that young anymore, but I was saying, hey,
grandkids, maybe.
Okay, well, that's some good information. Is there anything else you want to add about? Let me ask you particularly. We have an arbitration situation with the fraternity, Fraternal Order of the Police, and the city council, et cetera. The city council did not want the police to be able to meet if they have some egregious charge, to meet behind closed doors. So the arbitration is broke down. Do you have anything you want to share on that?
No, I mean, I just said I stand with, I stand against that, idea of them, meeting behind closed doors, to have their cases adjudicated by a arbitrator, as opposed to it going to the police board, and the records being open for everyone to see.
I remember really enjoying you when you came to the No Exit, and we haven't seen each other much. We talked a couple times. But how did you get involved playing music?
I didn't start playing music till I was like 21 years old, and I was in college studying economics. I was at Florida A&M. I was studying economics, and my roommate came back at the end of after the summer break. We came back, and he had all these jazz records, and he would play them 24 hours a day. Prior to that, we listened to hip hop. We listened to reggae, because we were in Florida. We listened to reggae and hip hop. Those are the most things that we listened to. But now he was playing this jazz music like Charlie Parker and Dizzy Gillespie and Gerald and Betty Carter and Sonny Stitt, John Cole. He's playing stuff like this like all the time. And I growing up, that music wasn't played like my family, they didn't listen to jazz music. So I hadn't really, listened to it or heard it that much. But he's playing it all the time, and then it was just a moment. It was one moment. One day I just heard it. I was listening and I heard it, and something in my brain just sort of clicked, and I had a knowing, like a sense, a knowing that I've never known anything. I had never known anything that's certain before, and I had never known. I don't think I've known that certain since. I started trying to acquire an instrument. I started asking around. There was somebody on the campus I had made a deal to buy the saxophone from. But within a month or so, he changed his mind. He sold it to somebody else. They had more money up front or something. He sold it. But then, and so I went home at the end of that semester in the fall, and I didn't return in the spring. I stayed home to work and to make some money. And I was working this job at the Essex Inn. I was working at the Essex Inn. I was doing night auditor work at the Essex Inn. And there was a pool attendant who was a fireman who worked part-time there at the Essex attending. he was a lifeguard at the pool. Tony Williams, I think his name was actually Tony Williams. And we became friends, and I was hanging out. I went to his house. He invited me to his house. I went to his house, and he takes me in the basement, and he has a recording studio in his basement. And I didn't, unbeknownst to me, he's like, oh yeah, I used to want to be a singer. And he had this recording studio with like, all this equipment and stuff and a booth. And in the booth, there's a piano, and on the piano bench, there's a clarinet. And I told him, that I wanted to play, saxophone. And he gave me the clarinet. And now, that started it all.
Well, what are the different groups you've had, and what do you got going right now?
Yeah, I started out with a trio, and then it grew. David Boykin Trio grew to a bigger group, Expanse. And mostly now I operate like Expanse is like a pretty much a quartet. Myself, Jim Baker, who I met at the Velvet Lounge back then, usually plays piano. Alex Wing on bass, and Isaiah Spencer on drums. And we're playing like, original compositions. And then other groups I have 10, 12 piece, like 4 singers. And that group came about, I guess, that group came about like around 2015. I had wrote an opera, like a jazz hip hop like opera. That was like talking about like it was a story of like two activists in the movement, like in a Black Lives Matter type movement. It was dealing with their story. So the music there is kind of like a blend of jazz and like hip hop and soul, R&B. And then a smaller group, a Beku, where I sing a lot and use like samplers and drum machines as opposed to live drummer and keyboards. But those are my main groups, and with Expand, sometimes I rap, and then I have another thing where I just rap and play like samplers, Dark Mary and Dr. Belson.
Can you, in a couple of words, tell the people who don't know what your music is, or what kind of music, or how do you describe it?
No, I can't. It's different for each group. Like if you said Expanse, you said like, well, what's the David Boykin Expanse like? I would say that's kind of like, like post John Coltrane, kind of like jazz. You know what I mean? It's just jazz music that's kind of like, post Coltrane. If you said like, what's the Beku like? I would say, oh, that's kind of like, it's kind of like neo soul, but it's kind of like electronic-y. You know what I mean?
Well, but when this airs, you will have played at a place called the Whistler on Milwaukee Avenue, and tell us a little bit about that scene. You were there. It'll be the 31st. This show doesn't come on until the weekend. But tell us about the Whistler and the jazz scene in general, real quick.
Oh, well, the Whistler's a great bar that features live music. And it's great that they feature live music every Wednesday. You have the series Relax Attack, and it features like an experiment. Especially they feature experimental sort of like jazz artists who really trying to like push the boundaries and stuff. And I played on it for a number of years with different groups. And I'm coming back this year to play with my group of Beku. Well, I'll be playing soprano saxophone and singing and playing the samplers. And Adam Zanolini, he'll be playing the bass. And Paige Brown will be playing the keyboards.
Well, I wish that was after the show airs, but you do have another one coming up. And I believe that's you and Juarez Hawkins, Sunday, February 10th, 7 p.m. at Compound Yellow, which is at 244 Lake Street in Oak Park. Right.
Yeah, that show is, I'm looking forward to that show a lot. That's an interesting experiment that I'm trying to do. A long time, I met Juarez quite some time ago, and I was doing a series of like improvised duets where I would improvise with different artists in different genres. So I was improvising with some painters. I would do a duet with a painter. I would do a duet with writers who would write like on overhead projector, like live, like while I'm playing. Improvise with like dancers, and so I'm revisiting something along that theme. but kind of based on this is quote by Eric Dolphy, where he talks about music and sound, and the ephemeralness of it. How like once you play music, it's in the air and then it's gone. And I thought about that in terms of the duet and the painter, and how when a painter paints or a sculptor sculpts, they leave this like physical like object there. And then I just came across what's that? That magic water paper that they use for like learning calligraphy. So you make a mark on that and it disappears. So Juarez is going to be improvising with me at the same time, but she'll be using that medium. So she'll be painting, on this watercolor paper, and what she makes as my notes will also disappear.
Well, David Boykin, we're out of time. I really appreciate you coming on the show. How do people get a hold of you? Is there any information you want to give out?
Just Google David Boykin, davidboykin.com. Go to the City of Chicago websites, find out about the district councils. Just go to City of Chicago.
I like you mix the politics and the music.
Yeah, hey, we gotta.